Hey, Curt Hennig fans. Hello and welcome to another episode of Curt Hennig Was the Best, Changed My Mind. I am your host, Steph. This is episode 25. Today on our Perfect podcast, we're going to watch along to Curt's match with Lex Lugar, the narcissist, at WrestleMania 9 on April 4th, 1993. I like this match because according to Lugar, Curt blanked out and they had to call spots. I will be sharing the Lugar interview where he talks about Curt blanking out along with the watch-along. Curt would end up getting pinned by Lugar, though the win was controversial as Curt's feet were on the ropes. We have reached another milestone of 400 subs. So I have another question that was asked, which was from username Dan Bauer 3669. His question was, do you think Yokozuna should have had a longer championship run than the 17 seconds he had that day? I will answer that in the next segment. But before we start, please join me on my YouTube and Rumble channels where if you like what you hear, you can subscribe, comment, like, and share so we can grow these channels. The links for both will be in the description field below this video. I have a new theme song. Of course, because of copyright reasons, I will only be able to show it at the beginning of my episode on Rumble. So to see this special Rumble exclusive only, check out the link for my Rumble channels in the description field below this video. Please check it out today. I would like to give a shout out and a thank you to my paid patron supporter Charlie Brown Politics. Thank you, Charlie Brown, for your support. If you too would like to support my channel for as low as $1 a month, please click the link in the description field below this video to become a paid patron supporter. You will also get your name read on the show. For $3 a month, you get your name read on the show and you get to ask me a question which I will read and answer. For $5 a month, you get all this plus an exclusive behind the scenes of how I do my show and also a blooper reel. Because trust me guys, I screw up a lot. For $10 a month, you get all this and access to a live patron show where you can learn more about me. So please click the link in the description field below this video to sign up today. We have reached our next milestone. We have reached 500 subscribers on YouTube. Please help me to reach my next milestone and get 600 subscribers. Please also help me to reach 100 followers on Rumble. All links will be in the description field below this video. You can now follow me on Locals for free. If you would like to support the show, you can for just $2 a month on Locals. Thank you for your support. Okay, guys, and we're back. So, to answer your question, Dan Bauer, great question, by the way. It's something that I had to actually think about, because this is everybody knows this as the controversial end where Hogan gets the belt back at WrestleMania 9 and he keeps it until, King of the Ring. And of course, everybody knows that this was the match that, Vince was trying to keep Hogan from going to WCW, and eventually he made Hogan drop the belt to Yokozuna at King of the Ring. So, do I think that Yokozuna should have had a longer run? Yes. Because I think what should have happened is I think that Hogan should have never been a part of it. I think that Bret should have kept the belt or he should have dropped it to Yokozuna. And, at King of the Ring, I could see maybe Curt winning the match between him and Bret. You know, Bret, you give it to Curt, and then Curt will eventually give it back to you, right? And they could still have their babyface versus babyface match at, King of the Ring. It's just that I think that, I think maybe Yoko should have had it and then given it to Curt. But he definitely should have had it longer than, 17 seconds or however long it was, like a minute or something. And then all of a sudden Hogan comes and he's the hero again. But if you watch the crowd was kind of into it and was amazed that Hogan was sort of, back and in charge of the business again. But it was short-lived because I just don't think the fans were into Hogan anymore. That was kind of a 91, 92 kind of thing, and then Hogan left after Survivor Series 92. I'm sorry, he left, after Survivor Series 91, excuse me. And I just think that the whole thing with Hogan was, as a fan myself of Mr. Perfect, now I'm a little biased, but, I definitely see, a match between, so at WrestleMania 9, Bret loses the belt to Yokozuna. So then, Curt's already a babyface, so you keep him a babyface. There's no reason why Curt couldn't have been champion at, say, King of the Ring. So, like I said, you have your babyface versus babyface match with Bret and Curt at King of the Ring, but you have Curt win, and now Curt goes against Yokozuna and gets the belt back, and then drops it whenever. Back to Bret for all I care. He could have, given it back to Bret, or he could have given it to Yokozuna, or whatever. But at least Curt would have had the integrity to say, yes, I was champion because, Vince trusted Bret, and he also trusted me. Now, I'm pretty sure that during the match with, Luger, as you're gonna see, I think, Curt's back starts to bother him. It's just something that you see Curt kind of almost, he's like mouthing the F-bomb, like, oh man, that hurts. But I think he tries to go through it, and then of course when you listen to Luger's, little spiel, I don't see where they screwed up. I don't see where he forgot the match. Everything is so smooth with Curt, and it could have been when they were doing those arm bars back and forth, but Curt's done that before. Curt's done arm bars like that before, and it's not because he forgot a match. Now I do think that he was a little caffeinated up because, in the interview you're gonna hear, Curt can't say the narcissist Lex Luger. He says the Lexorcist. No, it's the narcissist Lex Luger. And Curt's just like, I'm so excited. Darn it, I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna go now. And he throws his towel down. And it's just because he can't say the narcissist Lex Luger. He's trying to say it, but it's coming out the Lexorcist. And I think he's like, oh, darn it. And then if you listen really close, and you're gonna hear it, while me and Gene is saying his little spiel, you hear Luger in the background. Because I think Curt was like mad at himself that he couldn't say the narcissist Lex Luger, instead he was saying the Lexorcist. Which actually is probably a better gimmick, no offense. At least I think so. But to answer your question, yes, I do think that Yokozuna should have had a longer reign than 17 seconds or a minute or however long he was standing in the ring before Bret said, go. I don't think WrestleMania 9, on paper maybe it seemed like it was a good thing, but I just don't think that it came out the way it should have. In my eyes, it should have been, Yokozuna gets the belt, and then maybe at King of the Ring, when you have the babyface versus babyface, which is Bret and Curt, you have Curt winning, and then, they shake hands, and Bret says good luck. But I'm not saying you lower, Bret either. Everyone's going for that top spot. You keep Bret in a top spot. You don't lower him. Which I think is what they kind of did to Curt. Even though he was sort of in main events. I just think they kind of lowered his status, and I think that made him angry. And it would make me angry too. That's what I'm saying. I think it should have been Curt winning at King of the Ring, and then defeating Yokozuna for the belt again at SummerSlam or whatever. So, and that is another question that's coming up. Who did Curt face at 93 SummerSlam? I'm not going to say the answer because when I reach 700 subscribers, which currently right now I am at 698, as of this recording, it's 698. So 2 more and we're at that threshold. So that question will be coming up. But right now, we are focusing mainly on this question about Yokozuna. Like I said, I think that Yokozuna should have had it longer. Do I think Bret should have dropped the belt? Yes. I don't think he should have found out about that at, WrestleMania 9. He said he showed up. There's an interview with Bret where they kind of talked to him about that. They kind of, at WrestleMania 9, kind of told him, hey, you're going to be losing the belt. I don't think that should have happened there. I think they should have told him beforehand, hey, you're going to lose the belt to Yokozuna, and then we're going to let Curt win at King of the Ring. We're going to let him be King of the Ring, and then we're going to let Curt have the belt, and then you and Curt can just kind of give it back and forth to each other. And I think that could have gone into 94. And even 95. Curt at that, in 94, if everyone remembers, for WrestleMania 10, Curt was a special referee for Luger's match with Yokozuna. So, what they could have done instead of that is they could have had Yokozuna win at WrestleMania 9, and then at King of the Ring, have Curt win the King of the Ring, win the belt at SummerSlam, and then he could have given it back to Bret, at Survivor Series or at the Royal Rumble, 94, or even WrestleMania 10. He could have given the belt back to Bret Hart. So I think that they missed a great opportunity here, and because, it does kind of have something to do with Curt too, I kind of wanted to answer the question, but also go a little further with it, because there was another question about how do I see the 93 King of the Ring going between Curt and also Bret. I would have Curt winning. So at King of the Ring, I would say Yokozuna would be the champion until until SummerSlam. And then I would have Curt versus Yokozuna or Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect versus Yokozuna, because again, this was in the middle of the babyface run. So Curt was having a major babyface run at this time in 93. So you have Curt winning the King of the Ring, and then you have him against Yokozuna at SummerSlam 93, which didn't happen, but I'm not going to say who Mr. Perfect did face at 93. Again, question coming up. But you would have that title change at SummerSlam, and then you can have Curt drop it at Survivor Series, or you can have Curt drop it at the Royal Rumble, or even WrestleMania 10. As it went, Bret won King of the Ring, and he faced Yokozuna, got the belt back. But I definitely don't think that Hogan should have dropped the belt, or that Hogan should have had the belt in the first place. That was dumb. And like I said, I even heard an interview with Jim Ross where he says, WrestleMania 9 looked good on paper, but as far as executing it, it just kind of fell by the wayside because the finish was just rotten. I mean, the fans in Nevada seem to like it because they're all cheering Hogan and they're on their feet. But in the grand scheme of things, I mean, they had already lost interest in Hogan. And I think that with Curt being, back in the WWF, even as a babyface, he could have made Yokozuna look like a star. Now, Yokozuna was a star. But I'm talking just the same as Bret, just the same as any second generation could be in the ring with Yokozuna. I think that Curt and Yoko could have gone the distance. And in the end, you would have Curt, Bret, and Yokozuna all moving the belt back and forth between the three of them. If Curt had to leave for any reason because he was still having back problems, that's fine. But at least give Curt the belt at least once, and give him that give him that a reward of he pushed through all that back pain for so many months. And I just don't think they did that correctly. So that's the answer to my question. Should have Yokozuna had a longer title run? Yes. Yes, I do think he should have had a longer title run. However, like I said, I see the babyface versus babyface, which is Bret Hart and Mr. Perfect. I see that ending where Curt wins, and then he gets the belt at SummerSlam. Even if you keep it the same way. So, like, you have Hogan winning, for some dumb reason, you have him winning at WrestleMania 9. I still think you should go with the Curt win, with the Mr. Perfect win at King of the Ring, and then make Curt the first King of the Ring, or Mr. Perfect, I should say. You should make Mr. Perfect the first King of the Ring, and then give him the belt at SummerSlam, and then if his back is bothering him, Curt would have done a job. Mr. Perfect would have dropped the belt, to Bret or to Yokozuna. There's no doubt about it in my mind that he would do a job for anybody. So I just think that that's how 93 should have gone, though I'm not Vince McMahon, nor am I head of creative or a head of anything. So it just seemed like they were kind of dicking Curt around, and I didn't like that. So, do I think Yokozuna should have been champion longer? Yes. Hogan never should have been in the mix in the first place. Because Hogan had his time, and the only reason, like I said, that the reason why Hogan got the belt back at WrestleMania 9 was because literally Vince wanted to keep him from going to WCW. And as everyone knows, when King of the Ring came around, Hogan lost the belt and went to WCW anyway. And I was telling this to Angel and Kit. I said, somewhere Vern Gagne was laughing his behind off because he did the exact same thing to Vern Gagne in 84. When he left the AWA, when Hogan left the AWA in 84, it was people like Curt who stepped up to the plate for the AWA and became the star of AWA. Now, yes, Curt was a babyface back then, and he turned heel by 87. So 87 and 88, Curt had turned heel. And there's some really cool matches I'd like to do. I need to get them off before they take them off of YouTube. But there's one where Curt kind of says, I'm going to go get my baby sister to beat up on you. He's talking about Greg Gagne. I'm going to go get my baby sister. I'm like, how much of a baby are we talking about? Are we talking like a little kid, or are we talking like a teenager? But I thought that was really cool. And Curt looked so cool. He had this like jacket on, and he's looking really cool and everything. No offense, I would jump him. Yes, I would hit that. I mean, he looked so awesome. He looked like, he looked like $1 million. And at this time, he was having a little bit of a feud with Greg Gagne, who is Vern Gagne's son. And Vern Gagne was the promoter of AWA. So, I think at this time, going back to the Hogan thing, so wherever Vern Gagne is, he was probably laughing. Because in 84, Hogan had no-showed to a bunch of shows, and Greg talks about this, if you ever seen an interview with Greg Gagne. And of course, there's a documentary about the AWA. If you're interested, it is on Peacock. You can look for it. It's just like the rise and fall of the AWA. So, like I said, it is on Peacock if you want to look that up. But it basically goes through, like the highs and lows of AWA. And one of the lows was in 84, Hogan no-showed a bunch of sold-out shows for the AWA and Vern Gagne and Greg Gagne. And they were like, Hawk, why aren't you showing up, dude? Why don't you hear? It's like Christmas. It's sold out. It was him and Andre, which is a good main event. And they were sold out all over the place. And Hogan said, I get more money if I sit home. So it's sort of like that in 93 when he comes back and says, I'll be champion. And then when I'm done being champion, I'm not going to stick around here. I'm going to go to WCW. So he went to WCW anyway. So what Vince did was in vain. But again, wherever Verne Gagne was, he was laughing his behind off because he had done the same thing to Verne Gagne in 84, basically. So, I mean, the exact same thing happened anyway. Hogan was going to leave. He didn't care about Vince. He didn't care about the whole King of the Ring thing. He didn't care about all that. He didn't care about SummerSlam. Hogan cared about Hogan. And that's exactly what he did to Verne Gagne in 84. He up and left. Now, most of those guys did, but what Hogan did was basically he did a double cross to Verne Gagne. Verne had all these sold out shows with him and Andre, with Hogan and Andre, and Hogan up and left. And left them high and dry. So they had to get new guys. Who was the new guys? Curt Hennig, Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels, the Rockers. A bunch of guys had to step up to the plate now in the AWA after Hogan left. Of course, Bobby left too. Jesse Ventura left. But it was mostly because of Vince. I think Greg says the only one to serve out his time, I'm going to get this wrong. Yeah, Bolshevik. One of the Bolsheviks, I think. I can't remember off the top of my head. But for the goddess sake, Hogan basically screwed Verne Gagne. Which propelled other wrestlers, yes, to the top. Curt was one of them. In 87, they had, if you ever want to look this up, you can. It's a controversial thing. Him and Larry Zbyszko. Zbyszko hands him a roll of quarters, and you can see Curt open his hand. But it's very quick, so you have to be quick about it. But watch Curt's hand. But it's a controversial thing, and then they had that little thing afterwards where they do an investigation, and they find Curt is the winner. Okay, great. They find Curt is the winner, Curt wins. Okay. So Curt has the belt now. And he was a great AWA champion because, there's one interview he does in 88 where he has the long blonde hair and because when Curt first started, he had like this short brownish hair. It was really dark. I'm almost like, that can't be Curt. That's Curt Hennig. Anyway, he had dark brown hair. And even in Portland, it was like really dark. Of course, again, that could be the graphics. Remember, the graphics in the 80s weren't the greatest. But even in the AWA, when his hair started to slowly go blonde, there's an interview where he's like, a lot of people have asked Curt Hennig about my attitude change. My attitude is still the same. I'll have to play that for you sometime. It's a really, really great interview. At least I think so. And it just kind of shows you the character of Curt Hennig coming out. So there's a real Curt Hennig, but there's also a character Curt Hennig. And of course he was known as Curt Hennig in the AWA. He wasn't known as Mr. Perfect until the WWF, of course. So that's my take. I know that was a long rant, but that's how I would see things coming out. And even if they changed it slightly to Hogan not even being in it. Hogan never should have came back. Never should have been in the whole, but he came back probably because Brutus had come back. And then had that little feud with Money Inc. Okay, you stay in the Money Inc. feud. You don't have anything to do with the main event or Yokozuna or anything like that. But again, big egos and big people who think they're higher than they are will always come in and demand a bunch of stuff, and then they'll end up leaving anyway. Like, being in a relationship that's not so good. Oh, I'm sorry I cheated on you, I won't do it again, and then they do it again. That's how I kind of see the relationship between Hogan and Vince. Is that, Hogan said, oh, I won't cheat on you, let me come back. He came back for 3 months, beat the crap out of his partner, and left. And went to WCW anyway. So, Hogan eventually will show up on WCW TV. Something Vince didn't want to happen, but it happened anyway. So, do I think it was good? No. But that's how I see it playing out. And as far as Yokozuna, I think he was just in the mix because he had to be. Because that was Vince's heel. He wanted Yokozuna to be the top heel. Well, if you have a top heel, you need a top babyface. That was Curt. And yeah, it was Brett too. But I think it could have been Curt better. It would have been better with Curt. Because he could have been better than Lex Lugar. Let's say, so instead of, Hogan, so Hogan leaves, or he's not even a part of it, he doesn't come back. So you have someone who is better than Lex Lugar. See, the thing is, Vince tried to make Lex Lugar the next Hogan. And even if you didn't want to do that with Curt, you could still push him as a top babyface. I just think it would have been better than what they tried to do with Luger. Because what they did with Luger fell flat. And it didn't sell tickets, and it wasn't worth it. We should definitely have an interview, or go over the interview with Curt when he says, I wasn't a Yankee Doodle dandy. And when he's talking about Lex Luger. So, I definitely think that, they should have given Curt a chance to at least be champion. Even if it's just for a couple of months, they could have at least given him the decency and the integrity of being champion. Alright guys, so I'm gonna get everything ready for the match. And of course everything with Luger and stuff. So I will catch you guys on the flip side, and I'll get everything together. Okay guys, we're back. WrestleMania 9. So if you will go to your Peacock subscription, and, of course, it's season 9, for WrestleMania, of course. Because WrestleManias were always, numbered, you won't have any trouble finding it. So it's, season 9, episode 1. I am 1 hour, 43 minutes, and 59 seconds in. Now, this is gonna be, Todd Pettengill. He's gonna interview I think it's the owner of the Las Vegas place where they are. And, so it's this interview, and then it goes right into Curt's interview. So we're gonna watch Curt's interview. I'm going to turn it down because Luger has music that's probably copyrighted. And we're just gonna go through this. Like I said, this is a really good match. And then of course, after the match, I'm gonna, talk about it for a little bit. And then I'm gonna play the interview they did with Luger about Curt blanking out. So, you want to start at 1 hour, 43 minutes, and 59 seconds. And you watch this match, see if you can tell if Curt's, off. I don't think so. I've watched this match, many, many times, and I just can't see it. So, alright. So we're gonna hit play now. And I'm gonna turn it up. So, there is music, so I'm actually going to turn this down. They had just gotten done with the Hogan match, Hogan and, whatever, but, alright, I'm going to turn it up because they are going to talk about Mr. Perfect, yeah, here comes his interview. Hello, Curt.
That's another story. And the letter system. Here is the man that personifies athleticism. I'm talking about a man that does it all, well, perfectly. Mr. Perfect. But what about the reputation that your opponent has garnered as of late? The narcissist Lex Lugar with that devastating forearm. Very controversial, I might add. As a matter of fact, he has been knocking out opponents right and left. Most recently, at a brunch that I attended today, he absolutely knocked out Bret the Hitman Hart. That's got to be a concern to you.
You know, he considers himself a knockout artist. That's what he calls himself. Lex Lugar, the narcissist. You come out and tell everybody
Narcissy.
you're beyond perfection. You give Bret Hart a cheap shot today at a breakfast benefit. What's wrong with you, pal? You gotta carry a mirror around with you to show yourself that you are the great person that you really think you are. This is WrestleMania, Mean Gene. I'm on a roll this week. I got a hole-in-one playing golf. I've been hot at the tables. Mr. Perfect is exactly what he says he is. Perfect. And tonight, the narcissist
Lex Lugar.
I'm gonna go do it right now. I'm so excited. It's WrestleMania. Watch what happens.
By the way, don't go too far away. I want to go to the tables with you. Right now, let's get back.
Listen for the Luger.
Tinkus Maximus. Oh, yeah.
He could say the narcissist Lex Luger. Alright, guys, I'm gonna turn this down. And you can hear did you hear the Luger in the background, because he literally just couldn't remember the narcissist Lex Luger, but he was just so, as Luger put it, he was so caffeinated up that he forgot. So, and like I said, I will show that interview with Lex Luger after this match, of course. For copyright reasons, like I said, we are going to keep this down. It's just Luger walking to the ring with a bunch of girls. Remember, this was outside. So this is Las Vegas outside. It's just something that I think was kind of new to all the wrestlers. And really, if you watch this match, Curt had the sun in his eyes. So, good luck with that, because literally, the sun was always in, someone's eyes or whatever, depending on where you were. So right now we're doing Luger's, entrance. So, I usually will skip this because there's no point in watching this, but, Luger was impressive. I just think Curt was better. And like you'll hear in this interview, Luger was, cool as a cucumber in the back. He was really, really relaxed. He was working with Curt. And as everyone says, working with Curt Hennig is like a night off. So I think that, this is something that Luger kind of went, what do you mean you don't remember the match, And Luger said, Curt, apologized and apologized. He just completely blacked out. And how many times, guys, have I said, I blacked out before a test or something? I can't even remember what I studied, and then all of a sudden, I start reading some of the questions, and some of them will come back to me. So of course we have Luger, and he's showing off his body. Whoopie-doo-dah. Curt's body's better. This is, like I said, during the babyface run. So, okay, of course we're gonna have Curt's entrance now. And like I said, for copyright reasons, we're gonna keep it low because of the music, obviously. But when Curt gets in the ring and they start to wrestle, I'll turn it back up. For now, like I said, I think Curt was just so caffeinated up, just like in the Luger interview, that I think that, he just kind of blanked out, forgot. I don't even know how to explain it. It's kind of like, he just, like I said, blanked out. I would blank out before a test. And then, I try to remember, and the more I try to remember what I learned, it would get worse. I totally would just not remember anything. So I think Curt blocked out, or blanked out, but I think he started to remember as they went on, because Luger says he called spots. So once he started calling spots, I think Curt just kind of got into it and was like, yeah, okay, I remember now. He's wearing like a yellowish green. It's like a bright yellow. And black, of course. Alright, here we go. He's wearing Steeler colors, by the way.
Luger with the advantage, wrist lock. And put the counter by Mr. Perfect.
Does it look like he blanked out? Does it look like Curt blacked out? Or blanked out? Poor Curt. He probably just completely forgot. Oh. I mean, you just don't see it. I don't see where they blanked out. Where he blanked out.
Every opponent of the narcissist has been knocked out. Every man he's been in the ring with has been knocked out.
Oh. That had to hurt. And by the way, the commentators are JR, Bobby Heenan, and of course Savage. Like I said, this is in the middle of the babyface run, so, you know, Curt was a babyface, and he's wearing Steeler colors. I love it. I'm just teasing Curt where we are. We know you were a Minnesota guy. Yeah, Savage was a minor and a major league baseball player before he was a wrestler. Polygraph, not polygrip. I think Curt said he might have remembered the match as it went on. Yeah, he's in a higher class. Lex Lugar could not wrestle. He could not out-wrestle Curt. He couldn't even be in the same league. Hiya! Yeah, because he was not a wrestler. Curt was a wrestler, but Luger, he was a bodybuilder who had a run in WCW, and from what I heard, wasn't very good. Yeah, you're right. Muhammad Ali was a real boxer. One thing I would want to take is Curt's chops. No thanks. That hurts. Oh, no thanks. Oh, not the back.
He hit his lower back on that turnbuckle. I'll tell you what, that's the same lower back that he hurt that kept him out of wrestling for a
Oh.
while.
Oh. Not the back, Luger. Come on. Who are you talking to? Oh, another lower back shot. Come on, not the back.
That has been Luger's focus in the past several moments here at WrestleMania 9.
WrestleMania, just like you, Jim Ross. And he's safe for the backs, no doubt about it. He's staying on that lower back. Smart.
Well, there have been so many firsts thus far here at this magnificent event. And again,
a lot of first in one night against WrestleMania.
That's a dangerous arm of Luger's. It's hammering him right into the lower back, the kidney. Using the ropes for some additional momentum. Scoops him up. Look how strong Luger is. And he...
Not the back, Luger.
I don't know. I kind of enjoy it. There's a couple of lateral press. And
Yeah, can we stop the match, please? It's hurting his, touching his back. Now I know Mr. Perfect wouldn't be wrestling if his back was truly, truly hurt, like it was, around SummerSlam or whatever, but he would fight through it, so you gotta give Perfect, or Curt credit. Be quiet, Luger. Oh.
Using his mass and his power, forced Perfect back in the corner. And I was going to suggest to Lex Lugar how to get out of it. He told me, "Don't worry, I know how to get out of it."
Still trouble with the lower back of Perfect. I'm not convinced that Perfect's okay yet.
Lugar almost on Dream Street here.
Come on, Curt. I mean, Mr. Perfect.
Lugar trying to regain that offensive advantage he had earlier. And there's, I gotta think, there's a great deal of fight in Mr. Perfect. Inside. Yeah, inside triangle. He's got the leg. Nice cigar. Good wrestling move by Perfect. Taking the big man off his feet. This time. Elevates loose. Hello, Lex.
Tell you what, this changed the momentum.
Back in the corner.
I mean, the sun is in your eyes.
That massive chest. First run to the turnbuckles. Got both legs up. And tentacles. Luger once again into the top turnbuckle. And Tony with a big outside maneuver there.
Yeah, that was from Larry the Axe's dad.
Right hand. Irish whip. Again. Come on, Larry.
Come on, Curt.
Perfect up on that second rope. And again, his right hands are finding their mark. But look again, the power of Luger.
Oh.
Again, a big time forearm. Reaches back, hooks the leg.
No. Perfect is throwing everything at him, even the kitchen sink, and he can't take it off.
Perfect. Lateral press.
If they did the perfect Plex, he would get him. I don't think Luger would have kicked out.
Come on, Luger, come on, right?
But they didn't want Luger to lose yet.
We see
it. The referee saw it.
I don't care. I want to make sure everybody knows it. Millions and millions of people are watching this. I want everyone to know it.
So here comes the backslide.
Waiting for the backslide right now.
Yes, they are.
Drop your knees, Lex. Drop your knees. Drop your knees. Perfect. Luger's got the middle rope over the foot.
Now,
You call that one here.
Luger's got the arms up. He's got him over.
Oh, Perfect's legs are in the ropes. So I'm going to have to turn this down. Yeah, his legs were in the ropes. So he just hits him with his forearm. So Luger just, like he would do with everybody. And it is true that Lex Luger was in a motorcycle accident and literally had to have a metal plate in his arm. So that's what they find out later after this match. Now, I have it down because, like I said, there is music and I don't want copyright. So he knocks out, supposedly, Curt, Mr. Perfect, of course, and Mr. Perfect's laying there. Luger's going to the back, and then Perfect kind of comes around and he starts backwards. He starts back for Luger, and then this is when the Shawn Michaels feud starts, which I would like to do a watch along with the one Raw episode of him and Shawn. That's right. Mr. Perfect's feet were in the ropes. Go get him.
What a quitter, what a coward. Oh, come on. Let's want to stay right here. Stay with Mr. Perfect, man. He's mad. And I know what Mr. Perfect's like when he gets mad. It won't do him any good. He goes back there and looks for Luger and finds it. He's going to be out cold again. Well, big lady, he's not looking for you. Perfect is look at him walk. This is WrestleMania 9. He's been embarrassed. He thinks he's been embarrassed. Walking outside, there's Luger with Shawn Michaels.
So here's where the whole Shawn Michaels thing starts. Because he's beating up Luger and Shawn enters it. Like, Shawn, it wasn't even your fight. Oh. He hit him in the head with the wood that was in that trash can. Like, it wasn't even your fight, Shawn. Stay out of it. Alright, hit pause now. Should be at 2 hours and 3 minutes and 34 seconds. Okay. I will go ahead and get everything put away, guys. This was a good match, so we will catch you on the flip side, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. Okay, guys, we're back. So, my thoughts on WrestleMania 9's match with Luger. I honestly didn't see anything that said Curt blacked out or blanked out. Like Luger is about to tell you, I'm just about to show you, or, listen to the interview with Lex Luger. It was done at least a couple years ago, at least 5 to 10 years ago. But I didn't see anything that would say that, the only thing I saw was that Curt couldn't say the narcissist Lex Lugar. He goes, the Lexorcist, because he for some reason, he just couldn't say the narcissist Lex Lugar, which happens. We all get tongue-tied sometimes. We try to say 2 words at once, and it comes out something different. So, I think it's definitely something that, it could have happened. I don't know. I didn't see anything, but like I said, with the arm bars, it could have been like, that's where he kind of was like, Luger, what are we doing? What are we doing? Luger swears it wasn't a rib, that he was just kind of, oh, I'm so sorry, Luger. I totally blanked out. I'm so sorry about that. That's what Luger says. I don't know if Luger is lying. I don't know. I wish we could ask Curt, but unfortunately we can't. Unless we, have an Ouija board or something. Actually, that would be kind of cool. No, I think that it probably did happen, and he probably was thinking about it, and then when Curt stopped thinking about it, I'm sure the match came back to him, and they sort of remembered what they were supposed to do. It did end with a controversial ending where Curt's feet were in the ropes and stuff. And of course he's talking to the ref. Unfortunately, I had to kind of, because of copyright reasons, I had to turn it down. So, but you do see Curt there talking to the referee and hello, my feet were in the ropes. Well, there's an interview he does afterwards on Superstars where he's like, even a blind guy could see that my feet were in the ropes. So, I think it's, so you have this match, but then, Yokozuna becomes champion, as I said in the, previous, segment or whatever. You have, Yokozuna winning, and then you have King of the Ring, and I think that, Curt should win. Curt should win, you give him the belt at SummerSlam, and, it doesn't matter about Hogan, you can have Hogan in or Hogan out of it. I don't care what you do with Hogan. Some people would say, oh, I want to keep Hogan in, fine. So you have Hogan drop the belt at King of the Ring, but you let Curt win it, so you let Mr. Perfect win. And then you have at SummerSlam, you have Mr. Perfect versus Yokozuna for the belt. Fine. That's how it should have gone anyway. Because Curt should have had at least one chance for that belt. And he, like I said, would have literally wrestled through the pain of his back if his back was bothering him. I'm sure it was. From time to time, maybe a couple of times. His back must have been hurting him. But, again, Curt would have just gone through it and never said anything. I think he did leave at the end of 93 because he was having back problems. So, and he was having personal problems too. So I think that's how it should have gone. But, of course, everyone knows that that's not what happened. So, that would be my specific thing, is that you let Curt win at King of the Ring, and then SummerSlam, it's Mr. Perfect versus Yokozuna. And because Curt was a babyface, you let him win. And he can be the big hero. Instead of doing what they did with, Lex Lugar, trying to make him the Hogan, 2.0 or whatever, the Lex Express or whatever the heck it was called, I think you should have made Curt that guy. You didn't have to make him like Hogan. Just, make Curt a babyface and then push him to the moon and let Curt do the rest. Curt could be a top babyface. Trust me. I've seen it in Portland. I saw it in AWA. That dude could literally be the top anything. So if he had been pushed enough to where literally he, was on top of his game and he had the belt, it could have been him and, the Russian guy. I can't remember his name at the moment. But it could have been him, and then, you could have had the All-American Mr. Perfect or something. Because, let's face it, Curt could be anything. He could be the greatest babyface and the meanest heel. So, I just wish they would have given him, his dues. Let him pay his dues or whatever. Alright, so...
Mania to work with Mr. Perfect. Oh man, I was excited.
No WrestleMania cheers?
I was pretty relaxed because I was working with Curt. I mean, even if you're not a good worker, you're gonna have a decent match with Curt. He's gonna make you look decent. So I was pretty relaxed for that one. I didn't realize what was going to happen when we got in the ring until it happened. But so I was in the back and we went over the match a little bit. So I was for my WrestleMania debut, which was exciting, and I was thrilled to be in. I was in a very relaxed state working with Curt. When we got in the ring, we went over the match. We locked up, and he goes, "What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?" I thought, because I heard Curt was a ribber, like joking.
Yes, he was.
So I go, "Come on, Curt, man, what?" I'm like, "What are we doing?" He goes, "No, man, what are we doing? What are we doing?" He blanked out and forgot the whole match.
Did you remember it?
Pieces of it.
I have to go back and rewatch this now, knowing this. How did it come out?
I was calling the match. Curt couldn't remember what we'd gone over. Now, he's sitting in the back relaxing. I wasn't going over and over it again, so I was kind of trying to remember what we did next. And you really don't want to talk through each thing you do as you're throwing it off the rope. So, oh man, I got nervous. I went from being really relaxed to really nervous in the ring about 30 seconds in.
He ribbed you.
It was not a rib. If he ribbed me, he pulled it off.
Yeah.
Because he flat out said he blanked. He apologized afterwards, and he seemed so sincere. He'd get an Oscar for Oscar or a Golden Globe if he was acting. He said, "Man, I got all revved up for the match and caffeined up." And he goes, "Man, I got in there, I blanked." He was one of the greatest workers in the business, and he forgot our match at my WrestleMania debut, and I was trying to lead the match.
Hope you didn't hold it against him.
No, not at all. I wasn't upset with him, but I went from being real relaxed to real nervous in the ring all of a sudden.
You're in Sin City for a few days. There have to be some good Las Vegas stories. A bunch of wrestlers in Las Vegas.
Okay, guys, this is the last segment, we're coming to the end of episode 25. Thank you for listening to that Luger interview. I think it was very special to kind of hear that, oh no, Mr. Perfect is human too. And how many times have we all blanked out on something and, usually when we just forget about it and think about it later, it comes back to us. I think that's what happened here. I don't think that Curt did this on purpose or did it as a rib, because Luger seems very sincere about it, that Curt apologized up and down. "I'm so sorry, I forgot the match. I blanked out. I was all caffeinated up." In his defense, he was saying he couldn't say the narcissist Lex Lugar, he was saying the Lexorcist. So, I do think that Curt was going a million miles a minute. His mind is racing. He's trying to think, okay, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? And I can't remember. I think he just blacked out. I think he just blanked. And like I said, how many times have I told you guys that I did that before a test? So many times I can't even tell you that I've just, I study for hours and hours and hours, and all of a sudden, oh crap, the test comes and I'm like, oh, I forgot everything. But as I started reading the questions, and I think as Curt started going over the match, eventually he would say, well, you call spots and I'll just follow you. I think eventually Curt realized, oh, this is what we talked about. So he sort of remembered afterwards. But it also could have been that maybe he was testing Luger. Who knows? Who knows what Curt was thinking at that time? Just probably, oh crap, what was the match again? I think it was an excellent match because mostly it had Curt Hennig in it, but, there's a lot of people who didn't like that match because Luger was too much of a greenie. Even though he had his run in the WCW, he still went to bodybuilding after that. So I think there was a little bit of, Luger sort of forgot everything. I don't know if he forgot it, but he had an interval there where he wasn't wrestling, he was just bodybuilding. Of course, Curt was better than him because Curt was second generation. Luger wasn't. Luger was a bodybuilder. That's something that Vince really liked. in, his wrestlers, and that's why I think he tried to push Luger to the moon, because Luger had the body. Curt had the body too, in my opinion. And there's no difference between Curt and Bret other than Curt was perfect. Okay? I just think that Curt was a little bit better, and if Vince was going to pull the trigger, or pull the, whatever on Bret, go with Bret, he could have gone with Curt too. And like I said, there would have been a great babyface match with Yokozuna and Curt Hennig. Mr. Perfect would have made Yokozuna, he would have bounced around and made, Yokozuna look like a really mean heel. And I think that's something that only Curt could do. Bret had it good too. Bret, could make Yoko look really mean too. But I think the edge and the experience and the knowledge of wrestling and how to make someone look good was more Curt's thing. So, I really can't talk very much longer because my phone is about to die. I had so much fun though, talking wrestling with you guys. And like I said, that's how I see it coming out. If you guys see it a different way, that's fine. I see it coming out where Curt is the champion at least once. And as Kit said, that probably happened in another lifetime or whatever. So guys, I'm going to wrap up everything here. Like I said, my phone is just about to die. I really thank you for listening to everything that we've been talking about. I really liked WrestleMania 9. I just think it ended for Curt, it was like, why couldn't you put Curt in that position? And I know that he was supposed to take care of Lex Luger, and that's what he did. Curt did not mean to do that on purpose. He would never do that. I don't think he would just randomly blank out on a match. So, and I definitely think they should have given him the chance to be champion, because that was what all those guys wanted. I mean, no guy comes into business and says, oh, I want to be a middle card guy, and that's all the farther I want to go. No way, I don't believe him. I don't believe you for a second. So, I mean, give Curt his due. He deserved to be the champion, and he should have been. Not Hogan. And Bret could have passed the belt around. Like, it could have been like a Hogan and Warrior thing. I think that if they had both Curt and Bret as a babyface, I think it could have been part 2 of what they had at SummerSlam. Because they were kind of alluding to that at King of the Ring. Where Bret was kind of like, well, you didn't win at SummerSlam. And Curt goes, well, I'm gonna win. Like that. So I think it's something they could have played with a little bit longer, passing the heavyweight belt back and forth between Curt and also Bret, now that Curt was a babyface. There's a lot of missed opportunity there that I wish had gone Curt's way. But that does it for this edition of Curt Hennig Was the Best, Changed My Mind. Like I said, guys, I'm overwhelmed at all of the, support I'm getting. We have not yet peaked. And like I said, the whole thing with Angels coming up, first episode of that will be coming to you live Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm kind of doing 2 episodes at once now. And that's why my phone is about to die. But if you can support me, please do so. All the links for everything will be in the description field. If you can give $1, please give $1. If you can give 3, 5, 10, whatever you can spare, it will help me greatly to keep this channel going and also keep us going. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you are a big fan and supporter of Curt Hennig's, also a fan of mine. If you like what I'm saying, please like, share, subscribe, get this channel out, tell every wrestling person you know who likes wrestling or likes Curt Hennig. We're gonna keep doing episodes. I have stuff for episode 27. So, and we're only on 25 right now. So, but I have material for, later episodes that will be, done through the coming weeks here. I'm ahead of myself, so, we're just gonna keep on going forward. We're not gonna look backwards. So, if you can, please, please, please support me. And also support Angel and also Kit Cabello from Hardlands Media, who's been a big supporter of mine. I am a big supporter of his. He has really, really helped me reach new people. And it was, his shout-outs that really helped get me to 100 subscribers, and then 200, 300, 400, 500, and now we're almost at 700 subscribers. We're 2 away, so hopefully by episode 26 we will have 700 subscribers, and then we'll go to 8 and 9 and 1,000, and we'll just keep going. We're just going to keep going. We're going to keep pumping out episodes, and like I said, they're going to be episodes with my new podcast called Pro Wrestling Talk, so check that out. Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time with Angel Riviera. Live, you can chat, just hang out in the chat and chat with us, chat with the other people in there. It's going to be great. We're going to talk about current events. We're going to talk about wrestling news, modern wrestling, and of course old wrestling, that stuff that Angel and I grew up with, because we're about the same age. I'm a few months older than him. So we're going to talk about all that stuff and more. So please join us Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be a live show. I will be posting it on my show afterwards. So if you can't catch the live show, you can see a replay. It will be on my channel. I'm sure it'll be on Angel's as well. So, support us all you can. You can get me on Locals now. I am on Locals. You can support me for free, or you could give $2. I'm doing just what Kit's gonna do. Basically, what Kit wants to do is, if you can support us, great. It'll be there, $2 a month. I can't thank you guys enough for supporting me. And like I said, this has been overwhelming for me, that I've actually had to, have all these things happen to me so fast. The collaboration with not only Angel, but also with Kit on my show. The overwhelming support from all the Hardlands Media and all Angel's stuff, and Grass Fire, who was on X, we found each other accidentally. But we were wrestling fans, and we just, we started talking, and we found out we're both Wiccan, or I think he's pagan. But, that we share the same interests, and that, I'm going to have him on my show the February 24th that is coming up. So February 24th, or the 25th, look for that. Him and I are going to be talking about wrestling and wrestling topics. He's a great person, awesome person. He's the one who made my Rumble theme first, but, I kind of made my own, but I thank him from the bottom of my heart for letting me, have that theme song, and that, I just kind of just casually was telling him, wouldn't it be cool if you had, the song is Perfect Gentleman, if you could have Curt Hennig montage, or like Mr. Perfect video montages of just Mr. Perfect. And he's like, hang on a second, I'll be right back. And he comes back, and I loved it. But then I was like, well, I really want Curt's Mr. Perfect theme. And I have 2 of those. One is 30 seconds long, the other is 35. Some of you have seen it already. It will be on newer stuff, so, so when Angel and I do our first episode of Pro Wrestling Talk, if you go to Rumble, you will see that theme song at the beginning. It'll be my theme song that I made from I found videos of his promos. I do have a second version of him more wrestling. And then I do have a theme song of Rap is Crap, where I actually show some of the videos from his WCW stuff, and I also had to do a little bit of the music video from Rap is Crap. But all of that will be coming soon for later episodes. For right now, I just want to kind of get you used to his theme song and his little video montage that I do. I think it's something that I think he would like it. I think if he saw what I did with his theme song and the little videos that I put together, I think he'd be really impressed. So again, please follow me wherever you can. YouTube, Rumble, Locals, Patreon. Everything will be in the description field. Don't hesitate to leave a comment on either Rumble or YouTube or whatever you want to do. Comment, like, share, do all that stuff. Tell everybody you know about me. And remember, everyone, nobody beats Mr. Perfect. Nobody.